Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and walking with each other and talking with each other about all the things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him." Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself and all the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it is almost evening and the day is now nearly over." So he went to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread. The Gospel of the Lord. Let us pray. O God, whose blessed Son made himself known to his disciples in the breaking of bread, open the eyes of our faith that we may behold him in all his redeeming work, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. This is the first worship service I've had with you after an absence of 4 Sundays, and I am delighted to be with you again. We're in the midst of 2 competing seasons, the great 50 days of Easter and the pall of a strange season which prevents us from being together. This is an unusual time, something we have never seen before. We can identify with the 2 men walking on the road to Emmaus from Jerusalem on that first Easter day, they were feeling bereft of the loss they had sustained. They were grieving for the death of hope. Jesus, their respected and beloved rabbi, had been crucified. We had hoped he would be the one to redeem Israel, they confessed to the stranger walking with them. Along the way, they poured out their hearts and hopes. The stranger listened and then offered a different perspective. It was a perspective of eternal hope, of God's work in the world and in the moment to redeem his creation. The resurrection was right before them, and it was not evident to them until the stranger, the risen Christ, broke the bread at the table. We tend to see the resurrection as a singularis eventus, a one-time event, never repeated. But I would contend that resurrection, great and small, take place through time and throughout our lives. Julian of Norwich is an excellent example. She was reared and lived in Norwich in the 14th century in the county of Norfolk in east central England. Her life was marked by a dramatic epidemic, the Black Death, which claimed 1/3 of the people of her hometown. She also endured the Peasants' Revolt, which was an uprising of common people against the ruling authorities. Acting on her deep faith, she became what was known as an anchoress, a lay religious person separated from the world around herself. She spent her life in prayer, devotion, and service. That is, until she was 30 years old. Then she developed a devastating illness and actually had last rites said for her. As the deacon presiding held the crucifix before her, she began having a series of 16 visions that day and that night that told her of the love of God. She fully recovered and recorded those profound visions in a book known by the title Revelations of Divine Love. It is the oldest printed book written by a woman. From the midst of a near-death experience, she found hope and the love of God. These are the words which are most notable from those visions. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. In the midst of the difficulty of life and surrounded by illness and revolt, Julian found the resurrection. And you and I can find it too. It is over, under, around, and through all aspects of life. It can be as readily apparent, and we can miss it, as the men on the road to Emmaus came to realize. Our experiences in this current epidemic or in other circumstances may require waiting more than 3 days. But we can rest resurrections in your life and mine.